Today is the start of something new.
More positives for the health sector. A medical oxygen plant has been established in St. Anne's Bay to diversify the supply across the public health system.
It's historic because it represents part of the transformation that we have embarked on and that we're following through with.
A lot more to be said, but that's in our package, so stick around for the details. Also in the half hour, scholarships you can access through the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. I'm Adrian Atkinson, and thanks for making it Jamaica Magazine.
Young Jamaicans up to 35, your government will reserve up to 10% of NHT housing solutions over the next 5 years, just for you with 100% financing up to 15 million Jamaican dollars. This is how we are empowering and breaking the cycle of poverty meaningfully. Your government is caring for you.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, August 29, 2024. As the new academic year fast approaches, the Ministry of Education is assuring that primary and secondary schools will have their textbooks distributed in time for the start of classes. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Dr. Cassin Troop, gave the assurance during a press briefing earlier this week. She explained that many textbooks, which typically have a lifespan of 3 to 5 years, were lost during the COVID-19 pandemic.
We lost a number of our textbooks because our textbooks serve 3 to 5 years within the primary schools. But because of COVID, a number of our students did not return some of those texts. So we had to replenish all of the books for last year. So coming out of that, those books would have a life of 3 to 5 years within our primary schools. So the textbooks are already in our primary schools to support the teaching and learning process.
The ministry is also providing workbooks and other consumables to complement those purchased by parents, particularly at the early primary levels. At the same time, Dr. Troop adds that the ministry has refocused its efforts on high schools.
Since last year, we have refocused on our high schools. We gave the grade 7 and the grade 10 students, those who are moving into their subject programs, we gave textbooks for all those areas in full. And for the others, we gave a 10%. This year, we will be looking at grade 8 and I think grade 9 for their full support, and then the others will get their 10% top-up.
Schools across the island are being urged to bolster their COVID-19 safeguards to ensure a safe learning environment when classes resume. Minister of Education and Youth, Favour Williams, made the call yesterday in light of recent surveillance data indicating a concerning rise in SARS-CoV-2 transmission rates. Speaking at the post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House, Minister Williams emphasized the need for heightened vigilance.
We are asking our principals or school nurses to be particularly vigilant. While there's not a mandate for mask wearing or distancing and so on, we note the Ministry of Health's concern, if I could put it that way, for us to be aware and continue to do those things that we did during COVID.
And as the country remains in the hurricane season, the ministry will be providing disaster preparedness kits to schools throughout the academic year. These will include first aid supplies, flashlights, batteries, and other emergency response tools. In addition, the ministry will be providing psychosocial support to stakeholders in the education system.
Our guidance and counseling unit has partnered with the Ministry of Health and Wellness to provide increased access to guidance counselors to help students, staff, and parents cope with any particular issue related to the hurricane and other difficulty and unfortunate circumstances to which they might have been experiencing.
Scores of persons across St. Catherine have received cash grants under the government's Rebuild Jamaica initiative to restore their homes that were damaged by Hurricane Beryl in July. The beneficiaries were presented with their checks from Minister of Labour and Social Security Pernell Charles Jr. and other officials. The handover ceremony was held on Tuesday at the Hart College of Construction Services in Portmore. Minister Charles Jr. says the distribution marks a significant milestone in the nation's ongoing recovery efforts and underscores the government's commitment to supporting affected communities.
We're going to be traveling throughout all parishes, ensuring that we can reassure Jamaica that you're going to get the support.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security is partnering with the government of the United Kingdom and the World Food Programme to provide critical cash grant assistance to meet the other needs of Jamaicans most affected by Hurricane Beryl. This collaboration was formalized with the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding at the Ministry's North Street office on Tuesday. The UK government is committing €160,000 towards cash transfer interventions in Jamaica. This supports the ministry's ongoing efforts to provide immediate financial aid to approximately 2,000 individuals whose lives were severely impacted by the hurricane. Minister Pernell Charles Jr. points out that beyond the infrastructure concerns, there is also the basic need for cash to buy medicine and food.
The cash grants that will be provided to the most vulnerable, those who are disabled, those who are elderly, those who require our support, those single mothers who are alone, who have 4 or 5 children and don't have the support.
Beneficiaries will be notified of their eligibility via SMS from the World Food Programme, with cash assistance to be dispersed by Western Union and their national network of more than 230 outlets.
Assistance will be tailored to the size of a household, with $120 to be provided over 2 months of payments to a household of between 1 and 2 persons, $240 to a household of between 3 and 5 persons, and $340 for households comprised of 6 people or more.
Still on the post-hurricane recovery efforts, the Ministry of Local Government distributed over 10,000 hurricane straps to residents of Rocky Point and nearby communities earlier this week. The straps are provided free to the residents and are to be used for the sole purpose of reconstructing roofs damaged during the storm.
Any roof that you have to put on, using ply and zinc or whatever, those approval process is going to insist that hurricane straps must be used to secure the roof. And one of the areas that will strengthen the local authorities is that there's a new structure of employment coming up, where we will see more building officers being employed by the local authorities that will be able to go out to do proper inspection of approved developments that are taking place, to see to it that the proper method is used.
During the function, Minister Mackenzie announced $20 million would be provided for road repairs in the area and sections of Clarendon Southwestern in weeks to come.
We can't do all of the roads one time, but to at least make it much more comfortable for persons to gain access to the community.
And finally, government has signed on to an international treaty that encourages the provision of limitations and exceptions in domestic copyright legislation to allow access to copyrighted material by those who are blind, visually impaired, or print disabled. Jamaica acceded to the Marrakesh Treaty to facilitate access to published works for persons who are blind, visually impaired, or otherwise print disabled on August 28. Executive Director of the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, Lily Claire Bellamy, explains that the treaty simplifies the process of converting printed works into accessible formats by authorized persons. This ensures that blind or visually impaired individuals can access information without infringing copyright. Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Aubin Hill, says it will unlock access to a wealth of knowledge and opportunities that were previously out of reach, allowing the sight and hearing impaired communities to play a more active role in Jamaica's productive economic development. Among other things, the provisions made under the Marrakesh Treaty will enable Jamaica to facilitate the creation of accessible format copies of copyrighted works such as books, articles, and educational materials in formats like Braille, audio, and large print. It also allows for promoting the exchange of accessible format copies between countries, thereby reducing duplication of efforts and expanding the available resources for visually impaired individuals. And the treaty ensures that copyright exceptions and limitations do not hinder the creation and distribution of accessible formats. Jamaica is now the 7th Caribbean country to accede to the treaty. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Friend, it's the best decision we've ever made to further our education. We finally have our dream jobs that will allow us to enjoy other things in life. The Students' Loan Bureau did this for us, you know.
Yes, girl, it was a lot of work, but we made it.
All I have to start thinking about right now is to repay my student loan, and with SLB's low interest rate, I won't feel burdened at all.
Well, I have other things to focus on right now. Loan repayment can stay for later.
Really? Don't you know that when we repay our student loan, others benefit from the fund? Think about your little brother. Don't you want him to benefit too?
Oh, of course.
By paying it forward, we're making sure the next generation has the same opportunities we did.
Well, I guess I never thought about it that way.
I'm happy we had this conversation.
Oh, absolutely. Let me get on it right now.
Yeah, man. Let's make sure others can achieve their dreams too.
Visit our website at slbja.com for more details and follow all our social media platforms to be in the loop.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness, with the support of its partners, has built the country's first government-owned medical oxygen plant to strengthen its supply capacity. The plant was opened last week in St. Anne's Bay, and we have the details.
This launch/turning on of our own generating capacity for medical oxygen is historic because it's the first time we're doing it. And it's historic because it is adding a valuable proposition to our capacity to provide service to the patients that we serve here at St. Anne's Bay. It's historic because it represents part of the transformation that we have embarked on and that we're following through with.
This oxygen plant is a testament to the power of determination, collaboration, and shared commitment to saving lives. What once seemed like a distant goal is now a reality.
We are thrilled that improved supply of and access to medical oxygen will be a positive legacy of Jamaica's pandemic response and Canada's support. This plant represents a significant step forward to ensuring a steady, reliable, and affordable supply of medical oxygen across the island. Canada is proud to have provided the funding to make this a reality. First government-run oxygen plant in Jamaica. As the leading donor in the oxygen space, Canada will continue to support countries to increase oxygen capacity through investments in oxygen supply, infrastructure, and the workforce. This commitment is part of our broader effort to strengthen health systems for an inclusive, sustainable COVID-19 recovery and forward-looking pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response efforts.
This oxygen plant will not only serve the immediate needs of patients, but also act as a training hub for healthcare professionals, ensuring that the knowledge and skills necessary for the effective use of medical oxygen are disseminated widely. We have already supported the training of 8 biomedical engineers and will work with the Northeast Regional Health Authority to train the additional staff to support the operation of the plan. The lessons we have learned in establishing this plan are already being applied as we prepare to establish the second plant at the May Payne Hospital in Clarendon. Concurrently, and most importantly, UNICEF is collaborating with the government to develop policies, guidance, and standards for oxygen operation around the country.
I express our deepest gratitude to UNICEF and the Canadian High Commission for their generous support and commitment to improving healthcare outcomes here at the St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital and island-wide. Your partnership with this cause is truly commendable, and we are honored to have you as allies in our mission to provide exceptional healthcare services to those in need. As we mark this special occasion and witness the handover of this critical facility, let us reaffirm our shared commitment to excellence, compassion, and innovation in healthcare. Let this moment inspire us to continue pushing the boundaries of what is possible in healthcare, knowing that together we can make a real difference in our patients' lives and contribute to our community's well-being.
The addition of this oxygen plant embraces our ability to provide essential care, particularly in emergencies and for those most in need. This achievement is a testament to the hard work, collaboration, and vision of all involved, from our healthcare professionals who dedicate themselves daily to the service of others, to the generous partners and stakeholders who have supported this initiative. Thank you so much.
I am indeed pleased that we have gotten to this stage. It is an essential stage or step towards resilience. It reaffirms the commitments that have been made by the government, by the ministry. It supports the partnership that has remained strong and will only strengthen given the importance of what we're doing here and will do in May Payne. And ultimately and critically, it is benefiting and will benefit the people of Jamaica, which is really what it's about. That's why we are here. We are here to serve those who need this type of service.
Every student attending Heart and STA Trust under the New Care Initiative will get $15,000 each month to help cover their travel expenses to the Heart School they're attending and get an extra $13,000 each week while they're training.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Let's hear from the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service on the types of scholarships that are available and how to access them.
Every year, the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service facilitates scholarships and grants targeting eligible Jamaicans who are looking to advance their studies. Some of the scholarships facilitated yearly allow for students to study both locally and internationally at leading universities. There are also grants for public sector workers and their children. But what do you need to know about scholarships? Hi, I'm Shaquille Rochester Shorter, and welcome to Finance Matters. Joining us to share the details is the Director of the Talent and Knowledge Management Portfolio at the MOFPS, Mrs. Colette Cummings McCausland. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow the Ministry of Finance on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and now TikTok to see all the episodes and highlights. Mrs. McCausland, thank you for being on our program today.
Thank you for having me, Shaquille.
All right, so I want you to tell us about some of the scholarships facilitated by the ministry.
All right, so our scholarship offers are facilitated through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade.
Okay.
We do have bilateral partners such as Serbia, Russia, China, and Cuba, as well as multilateral partners such as the OAS, Organization of American States, UK Commonwealth, New Zealand Commonwealth. Our local scholarship offers are the Marcus Garvey Graduate Public Sector Scholarship, targeted to individuals within the public sector, as well as our new initiative, the Micro STEM Scholarship for teachers to be trained in the areas of STEM, as well as the UTech STEM Scholarship for young professionals to be trained in the area of STEM.
I hear you talking about scholarships, the STEM scholarship, the Marcus Garvey Public Sector Graduate Scholarship, but a lot of times people are deterred by the bonding that they have to sign. What is bonding?
All right, so bonding it's of an archaic term. It is really just a service level agreement, promising that after you've studied, after the government has invested in you through our bilateral partners and you have studied overseas or locally, that you will just work in Jamaica for a minimum of 2 years to a maximum of 5 years.
Who does bonding apply to?
It applies to every citizen who gets a benefit from the government of Jamaica or through its donor agencies from 300,000 up, then you are required to sign a bond agreement.
Okay. What are some recommendations for people studying abroad? You know of people going abroad to study. What do you have to say to them?
Do your research. First and foremost, know where it is that you're going to, know the culture that you're going into.
Definitely.
Because Jamaicans are loved and we like to explore. So do your research. That's the main advice that I can give to them. Be aware of the area that you're going into as well, because there's a lot of geopolitical tension happening across the globe. So be aware, and then you have to make that decision, you know, what is it if something should happen? How will you be able to leave quickly, you know? Once you get overseas, we also encourage all our scholarships or students, recipients, right, to register with the embassy or the consulate in that country to say that I'm here studying, I'm expected to be here for a number of years, so that we'll have information on our citizens while they're overseas.
And that is definitely for their safety, Mrs. McCausland. Parents are oftentimes worried about their children going off. I know you're talking to the students that do your research, but what do you have to tell parents that are worried that, hey, my one daughter is leaving to go overseas and I can't stop worrying? What do you have to say?
Be prepared. Speak with your child, know what it is that they're getting into. Look at what the scholarship is offering. Some of our scholarships are full scholarships, while others are partial scholarships. So therefore, is it that you will have to find some assistance or funding while the student is there? So we suggest that you just have the conversation with them. Also have a conversation with us to find out what it is that the GOJ will offer in terms of stipend or warm clothing or tuition, what it is that the government of Jamaica offers for that particular scholarship offer. Look at what the bilateral donor is also offering for that scholarship, because you can get free education, but then what is the wherewithal of it? How is it that I'm going to manage in that particular culture? If I go to China, how do I manage, you know, what the infrastructure is like in China, which is totally different from Jamaica. Russia is forever cold, so you have to be prepared. Also be available to them. Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, video calls, just be present for them, because they do need it. It's a new environment for them. It's a new feeling for you as a parent. And you know, you get jittery. It's our loved ones. But as long as we prepare ourselves by being a part of the process, knowing what the process entails, and keeping in tune with our students while they're overseas, they'll be fine.
Definitely agree with you, Mrs. McCausland. But you mentioned earlier that the scholarships are oftentimes for government workers. What are some of the other eligible criteria that they must meet to be able to get a scholarship?
All right, so outside of being a government employee, you must be a citizen of Jamaica for any scholarship that we offer. You must have the criteria as set out by the donor entity. So most of the donor entities, if it is for undergraduate, they'll ask you to have your CSEC or your CAPE studies. So for example, the Cuba bilateral that is currently open, we have 21 scholarship offers now out for Cuba, most of them being in the areas of medicine. So we have for nursing and we have for general medicine. We have at the postgraduate level. For those at the undergraduate level, you must have at least 2 K subjects in the sciences, so physics and bio or chemistry are mixed. So it's dependent on what the donor entity asks for. But the main factor is you must be a Jamaican, and most times you must be willing to return to the country to develop the country.
That's definitely a big one there,
Right.
Mrs. McCausland. So before we go, quickly, tell us where we can go to apply for a scholarship.
Always at the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service website, any one of our social media handles. Most of our scholarship applications are done online. It is tweeted, it is on Facebook, it's on Instagram. I hear we're on TikTok now.
Yes,
but
we are.
Definitely on the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service website at www.mof.gov.jm.
Well, on that note, Mrs. McCausland, thank you for being on our program today.
Thank you so much, Shaquille. It was a pleasure.
And thank you for joining us on this episode of Finance Matters. Remember to follow us on social media at MOF Jamaica and tune in next week as we continue to demystify the economic and fiscal policies and initiatives implemented by the government to empower Jamaicans as we chart a path to Jamaica's economic prosperity.
Hi everyone, here are 5 benefits of being a beneficiary of the Students' Loan Bureau. 1. Benefit from our 99% approval rate. 2. Benefit from our low interest rate, so less burden when you need to repay. 3. Benefit from the fact that we require no collateral when applying. 4. We're giving you more time to focus on your studies while we focus on the financing. No need to worry about repaying while in school. Number 5. Receive a 14 months grace period after your graduation date before you enter repayment. Don't forget to follow us on all SLB platforms for more SLB info.
Do your part to prevent mosquito breeding. Mosquitoes will breed in any container that holds water.
Tightly cover water storage containers such as drums, barrels, buckets and tanks. If this cannot be done, pour cooking oil on the water surface. Punch holes in all tins, plastics and beverage boxes to prevent the collection of water before disposal. Cover all tires or fill with dirt to prevent water collection. Scrub all vases once per week to remove mosquito eggs. Use mosquito repellents to protect yourself from mosquito bites. Dispose of garbage properly by placing in plastic bags and securing properly to prevent water collection.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
This is where our journey ends, but only for today. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll bring another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, gis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at gis.gov.jm or via X at JIS News. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.